Just waiting to get on this road here, burn some rubber up, take a nice little country drive. So I'm sharing this video because a lot of misnomers have been thrown out there, whether you are for school choice or you're against school choice. What this video is going to be is it's going to be an informational purpose only for people who are for school choice and who are not for school choice. I live in a school choice state, so I am a fake educator. So I can give you guys a little bit of a breakdown on what school choice actually looks like and what school choice actually is. You'll hear Republicans and conservatives tout school choice as this great thing. How is it, Moise? They'll tout school choice as this great reckoning to rid the world of the evil stains of leftist progressive indoctrination in the school systems. You'll hear leftists demonize school choice as a means to take away funding and money from all public schools around the United States of America. Neither are true. The purpose of school choice, it was created and it was designed. Are you driving a car? No, you don't hear that him engine. But the purpose of school choice was solely designed to give parents the option of where their children would be best suited to experience an education at the taxpayer's expense. The taxpayers being those parents as well. A lot of people forget when they talk about school choice and they vilify and demonize these parents that these parents are actually taxpayers who want their kids and want their tax money to go somewhere where they feel comfortable for their kids' education. So here's how I'm going to break down school choice for you guys because I see a lot of people are voting. So salute to that. 50% people are saying yes, 50% people saying they don't know enough. So that's the whole purpose of me doing this live while I'm driving on my way in this country road. The whole purpose of school choice is designed to give parental options on where their child will be educated. So school choice takes the federal money and the state money that is allotted to a school and or that is allotted for a child's education. Some in some cases even the local money as well too. So each year every school district has what's known as a per pupil education or a cost per pupil education. And on average in places like Florida, the cost per pupil education is roughly around $11,000 to $12,000 per child per year. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it costs roughly around $11,000 per year to educate each child in the state of Florida. So what you're looking at is that cost goes into the teacher's salary, each teacher's salary, that cost goes into the lunch for that child. That cost goes into the security for that child. That cost goes into if that child requires accommodations or some type of special needs. It goes into counselors for that child. So all of that makes up the per pupil cost for that child's particular needs. Anti-school choice advocates would argue that that money is essential to functioning a public school system. So that $11,000, $12,000, it's calculated into the public schools budget. And if a child is removed out of the public school setting, that money therefore gets removed, and therefore that school loses funding, and therefore that school cannot help the whole of the school community because that money's gone. This is what anti-school choice advocates will say. Pro school choice advocates will say that money is a part of the tax system and the taxpayers here in the United States of America. I just seen my first ICE sighting. But pro school choice advocates will advocate for, salute to you, Jeffrey, will say that that money is a part of the tax system and that money is supposed to be specifically to meet the needs of the child that is supposed to serve. And if that child is not getting the needs at his or her school, then that child should have the right, along with their family, to take the money the government, the federal government, the state government, and even the local government has designated for that child and put it into an appropriate educational setting. Type one in the chat if that made perfect sense of what I just broke down of school choice. And while you're typing one in the chat, make sure you guys hit the like button. I'm seeing a few people up in here, and I'm also seeing a few people hitting the asking the question. A lot of people don't know what school choice was, but type one in the chat if I just broke it down and you understand it now what school choice is. If you're not happy with the education your child is receiving, under school choice guidelines, you have the right to remove your child from that school setting and place your child in a setting that you find more suitable for that child's academic needs and growth. How this is beneficial? This gives kids who are in poor, failing schools, mostly in a city, an opportunity to attend school settings that particularly give them better options for an economic, social, or educational output. So if a child is in a inner city school that continues to receive D's and F's, and their goal for this child is a trade school as opposed to college, let's say you want your child to go to college, so you want your child to get more rigorous education, you'll send your kid to another school out of that area, even though that child may live closer to the failing school. Now the child has the ability, without having to come out of their pocket, to attend a school that is in the same district or even out of district here in the state of Florida. That school choice voucher, that money that they were going to spend for your child's public education at the failing school, they can use that even towards the child's tuition at a private school. So let's say you wanted your child to even go to a private school instead. You go ahead, what you do is you file a petition for a fee waiver, or as a scholarship fund that they call it, and you can send your child to school on that scholarship at a private school. Now, here's the problem with school choice. Now, here's the problem with school choice. School choice is something that, although it is a great mechanism to give a pathway of a fair, equal, beneficial education to groups of people who otherwise would not receive that type of educational setting, because they continue to have schools with high rates of teacher turnover. This is documented in inner city, low income socioeconomic schools, the highest rate of teacher turnover, unqualified administrators, um, failing buildings. So all of these things. So you have to ask the question: well, if my child is a participant in the finances for this school, why is this school failing? Why is that $11,000 my child is giving or benefiting this school to attend? Why does my child have moldy food? Why does my child have stale bread? Why does my child have a broken desk? Where's that money going? So the adage about school choice is it gives that option. However, it gives that option for parents to leave from those type of schools. However, however, school choice has opened up a pathway that parents are now using as a means to transport their kids from multiple schools throughout their school year. I'm going to share one example for you with that, and it comes with athletics. I knew of a student who transferred from 5 high schools in 4 years and didn't even graduate because school choice allowed that option for that student to be able to transfer that many times to pursue an athletic career. School choice has decimated the idea of sports tradition. School choice has decimated the idea of um, school loyalty, school culture. Those things are have gone away, or they're diminishing with the influx of school choice. So when you have more school choice options, parents are not necessarily using it for academic reasons. What they're now using it for is they're using it for athletic reasons. So that's one of the failures and the negative components of said school choice. Probably should have took that time. And guys, make sure you hit the like button as I'm. Oh, shoot. All right. So you should be able to hear me now. But school choice wasn't advertised for. Um, School choice was advertised to give an option and an opportunity for people whose children needed a better educational setting. It wasn't advertised for it to be a new pathway to the transfer portal. But it's become so greasy now that even newspapers, local newspapers, are highlighting high school players transferring to different schools and different counties. There was even one um, about a kid who transferred from Miami-Dade up to I think may have been like Sarasota or somewhere south of where I'm at, anyways. But the kid transferred from 3 high schools in 1 year, and he won a state championship. But for the idea of a kid being able to transfer for sports related reasons that many times, that's a failure of school choice. Now, the benefit of school choice is it forces bad schools to look themselves in the mirror. I've told you before, and I've said it again, and I'll continue to say it. Our educational system is failing. So when we sit up here and we're in denial about our educational system, we won't say it's failing. We can never fix the system. So one of the reasons why I say that the educational system is failing, the Black American student population as my mark, and this is not to put them down, this is not to uphold them, this is not to segregate them. However, when you continually have the same group of people ranked the lowest in graduation, ranked the lowest in test scores, ranked the highest in discipline, there's something broken within that system altogether. It's not the kids. Hell, I won't even say it's the culture, but I'll say it's a broken system. I'm somewhere on the code, but salute to you, Stranik. But trying to make sure you hit the like button, and then make sure you also answer the poll question. And guys, if you haven't subbed up, sub up. Feel free to sub up. And somebody sent me a blessing earlier. If you want to continue to send a blessing, just go to the Cash App, hit the Cash App, money sign MHBT83, the fake teacher fund. Thank you so much to the person that sent that blessing. But we have to analyze the failures of the public school system before we sit here and keep on sending money. I've told you guys before, there's plenty of money in education. I hate when people say there's no money in education. There's plenty of money in education. The problem is the teachers don't get it. The problem is the buildings rarely get it. The problem is the curriculum resources are rarely um, provided. Where the money in education goes, it goes into waste. So, for example, a lot of schools now have offer free lunch. A lot of them kids don't eat that free lunch because it's nasty as hell. So a lot of times you see a lot of waste in that area. And I bet you if you look at your district offices, you'll see a lot of salaries for people you can't even justify. So that's where, I mean, what for that $11,000 per pupil student is going to places where you can't even justify why it's there. There's no reason that schools should run into some of the budget shortfalls they're running into when they get that much money from the federal and state level about their for the students that they're supposed to service, especially in the age of where there are heavy teacher shortages. That means that even though there are teacher shortages, there should be more money. But what ends up happening is people are saying, "Oh, there's no money in education." Bullshit. It's just going to the wrong place. And so if you're a school choice advocate, you recognize that. The other negative part about school choice is now you're starting to see anybody and the mama opening up public school, opening up schools. So you have unqualified people, whether it be academically, whether it be emotionally, whether it be athletically, opening up schools. I knew of one guy who opened up a school for as a basketball school where he was just going to create a basketball powerhouse, and he propped his school up as a high academic achievement school. But it turns out that the school wasn't accredited, and what the school basically did was it placed kids on the GED track. So they played basketball, but they were on a GED track instead of a high school diploma track. They were on a GED track instead of a high academic track that would get them into college if they broke their leg or they couldn't make a jump shot. Type one in the chat if you can hear me, because I just want to make sure that my phone that went out. But for some of you who said you don't know enough about school choice, I hope I was able to give that information to you to help you out. For those of you who know about school choice and you support school choice, just support it with caution, though, that it does have some flaws that do need to be corrected. Meaning, we can't just keep allowing any and everybody to open up schools under the guise of school choice, because we're getting a lot of bad schools open. Just think about it this way. Think about how the inner cities operate, where there are a lot of people who run after school programs, but they're not really quality after school programs. But because there's money to be got from those said after school programs, they run after school programs. Or think about the hustle in Minneapolis with a particular migrant community, where the governor all but turned his head and covered his eyes, where people were swindling and stealing millions of dollars under the guise of daycare facilities. This is not something I'm making up. This is something that is documented, and there's litigation going on about the matter right now. So that is a problem with school choice, because where there's opportunities for people to manipulate the system and gain money, anybody can get a storefront and call it a school building now, and they can get the per pupil funds if they can convince the parents to send a child to that school. But if you've not liked and subscribed yet, make sure you do. I'm going to leave this video up, and this is going to be a good informational just to get you started on understanding what school choice is, the positives and the negatives. Like I said, the positive of it is it can help remove kids who can't financially afford to go to better schools into positions where they can go to a better school of academic growth and achievement, as opposed to being stuck in a failing school system or school district. That's one of the immediate positives of school choice. It creates a competition among schools that want to be better so they can get they can produce, create, and replicate the best contributors to society. The negatives of it is it becomes a pathway that parents use for sports that leads to a lot of kids transferring more times than they should and interrupting their academic growth. But it also can lead to a lot of bad people creating school systems just for the sake of getting a quick payday without being qualified or being knowledgeable of how to produce quality students. So you pick, you decide, you figure out. Thank you to everybody who voted in here. Thank you to everybody who supported with a Cash App blessing to the Fake Teacher Retirement Fund. And then also thank you to everyone, to the new subscribers I have on this channel. All right, salute.